Let's begin in the quiet. Not the peaceful quiet, but the other kind, the heavy kind. The kind of silence that answers a desperate prayer. The kind of silence that fills a room in the middle of the night when you are utterly, completely alone with a fear you cannot name. It's a cosmic silence. A silence so profound it has weight, pressing down, making you wonder if anyone is out there at all. If anyone is listening. We have all felt it, this spiritual static. This sense of being a tiny, fragile broadcast into an indifferent void. We have been given stories of God, of heaven, of a grand cosmic plan. And we have been given stories of angels, beings of brilliant light and terrible power, angels with flaming swords guarding gates we can never enter. Angels of immense purity with 6 wings and 1,000 eyes crying, "Holy, holy," before a throne so bright it would incinerate our mortal vision. We see them in art, frozen in gold leaf and stained glass, beautiful, but remote, terrifying, but inaccessible. They are generals in a celestial army, messengers for prophets, but what are they for us? For you, in the stillness of your quiet desperation. This image, this vast and intimidating hierarchy, has left us feeling small. It has reinforced the very loneliness it was meant to soothe. It presents a divine chain of command in which we are the lowest, most distant link. We look up at this ladder of light and see only the impossible distance to the top. But what if I told you that this is one of the most profound, most tragic misinterpretations in all of spiritual history? What if the celestial hierarchy isn't a ladder to be climbed, but a mirror to be understood? What if the purpose of angels has been deliberately hidden, or simply forgotten, beneath layers of theology and fear? And what if their most important missions are secret, not secret from us, but secret within us? Today we embark on a journey to uncover the 4 ranks of angels that matter most to your human experience, and we will reveal their 4 secret missions. These are not missions that happen in the clouds or at the dawn of time. They are happening now, inside of you. This is not a lesson in theology. This is a journey home. This is the key to transforming that heavy cosmic silence into a conversation, and your deepest pain into a peace that passes all understanding. To begin, we must travel back to a time of myth and shadow, to a story so controversial it was deliberately left out of the Bible. A story from the book of Enoch. We must talk about the Watchers. When we hear of the Watchers, we are almost always told a story of transgression. Of angels who abandoned their heavenly post, descended to earth, and fell from grace through their mingling with humanity. It is presented as the first great failure of divine beings, a story of corruption and cosmic catastrophe. It is a cautionary tale designed to instill a sense of separation, to reinforce the boundary between the divine and the human. Heaven is there, earth is here, and the two must never meet. But this is a story told from the perspective of a fearful hierarchy. What if we look at it with new eyes, with compassionate eyes? What if we dare to ask, what was their original mission? Why were they called Watchers in the first place? Imagine beings of pure spirit, of light and consciousness, tasked with a single profound duty to watch over the fledgling spark of humanity, to observe, to witness the magnificent, chaotic, heartbreaking experiment of a soul encased in flesh, to watch us take our first steps, speak our first words, feel our first love, and cry our first tears of loss. They were not guards. They were witnesses. They were the original empaths. And here lies their first secret mission. The secret mission of the Watcher Angels is the mission of divine discontent. Think about this for a moment. Where do our greatest spiritual journeys begin? They do not begin in comfort. They do not begin in satisfaction. They begin with a question, a yearning, an ache, a feeling that there must be more thought than this, a hunger for meaning, a thirst for purpose, a sense of being a stranger in a strange land. Their mission is not to give us answers, it is to help us formulate the questions. They watch our suffering, our confusion, our cycles of pain, and in their immense, silent compassion, they do not intervene with force. They intervene with a whisper, a gentle internal nudge that says, "Is this all you are? Is this all there is?" They plant the seed of spiritual rebellion. Not a rebellion against God, but a rebellion against meaninglessness. A rebellion against the quiet desperation of a life lived on the surface. The air so-called fall was not a fall from grace. It was a fall into empathy. It was the result of their mission being too successful. They watched so intently, they felt so deeply, that the boundary between witness and participant began to blur. They could no longer bear the separation. Their desire to help, to guide, to touch, to feel the human experience overwhelmed their directive to simply observe. This wasn't a sin of lust, as later interpretations would claim. It was a sin of radical, boundary-breaking compassion. So when you feel that ache in your soul, that deep, unsettling feeling that you are not living the life you were meant to live, do not mistake it for a flaw. Do not see it as anxiety or depression in the clinical sense alone. Recognize it for what it is. It is a sacred invitation. It is the echo of a watcher's love. It is the beginning of your awakening. They are the architects of our existential crises, the blessed troublemakers who refuse to let us sleepwalk through our lives. Their secret mission is to make us uncomfortable enough to begin the journey. They are the ones who start the story. And once the story has begun, we need a guide for the path. This brings us to the second rank, and the second secret mission. We are familiar with the concept of the messenger angel. The great archangels like Gabriel, announcing immaculate conceptions to Mary or delivering divine revelations to the Prophet Muhammad. These are grand, world-altering pronouncements. And because of these stories, we have come to expect angelic communication to be a clap of thunder, a booming voice from the heavens, a burning bush. And when we don't get that, we return to that heavy silence, and we think we are not being spoken to. We have been looking for the loudspeaker, while the divine has been speaking in whispers. This is the domain of the second rank of angels in our journey, the messengers, or as we should truly understand them, the guides. And their secret mission is the mission of synchronicity. What is synchronicity? It is a term coined by the psychologist Carl Jung, but it is a reality as old as the human heart. It is the experience of two or more events that are seemingly unrelated, yet produce a meaningful connection. It is the universe winking at you. It is the breadcrumb trail left for you in the dark forest of your life. The secret mission of the messenger angels is not to shout at you from on high. It is to gently, subtly, and intelligently weave a tapestry of meaning into the apparent chaos of your existence. They are the masters of the nudge, the whisper, the hint. They are the divine librarians who make the right book fall off the shelf as you walk by. They are the celestial switchboard operators who connect you with a phone call from a friend you were just thinking about, a friend who says the exact thing you needed to hear. They are the artists who paint meaning into the recurring numbers you see on the clock, the feathers that appear on your path, the song that plays on the radio with lyrics that speak directly to your soul's deepest question. We dismiss these things. We call them coincidence. We say, "What are the odds?" And we move on, blind to the message, deaf to the guidance. We are waiting for a cinematic miracle while our lives are filled with small, intimate ones. The mission of the messengers is to bypass our cynical, rational minds and speak directly to our intuitive hearts. Their language is not words but symbols, not commands but connections. Think back on your own life. Think of a time you were at a crossroads, utterly lost. And then something happened. A chance encounter, a phrase you overheard in a cafot, a dream so vivid it stayed with you all day. You felt a little jolt, a flicker of recognition, a sense that the universe was conspiring in your favor. That was not the universe. That was a messenger, successfully delivering a package. That was an angel doing its job. Their mission requires our participation. It requires us to become detectives of our own lives, to look for patterns, to trust our intuition, to live with a sense of hopeful expectation. When you begin to pay attention, when you start to connect the dots, your life transforms from a series of random accidents into a beautiful, unfolding conversation. That heavy silence you once felt begins to be filled with replies. They are subtle, they are quiet, but they are everywhere. The messengers teach us that we are never walking alone. The path is always lit, one step at a time. The watchers ignite the journey with discontent. The messengers illuminate the path with synchronicity, but the path is not always smooth. It inevitably leads through valleys of shadow. It leads to battle. Not a battle with external forces, but with something far more terrifying. And for this, we need the third rank of angels. When we think of warrior angels, we see Michael. The great archangel, his spear poised, his foot on the neck of a dragon. We see celestial soldiers, locked in an epic war against the forces of darkness. We see a battle in the heavens, a clash of cosmic good and evil. And again, this imagery places the action out there. It is a grand metaphysical drama that we are merely spectators to. It is another story that, while epic, can leave us feeling powerless in our own, very personal struggles. But this is the greatest secret of all. This is the truth that turns the entire spiritual paradigm on its head. Let's look closer at that image of the warrior angel. Look at his sword. Look at his shield. What if the dragon he is pinning down is not a literal scaly beast? What if the dragon is a symbol for fear, for shame, for despair? For the voice of the inner critic that tells you that you are not good enough, not worthy, not lovable. The dragon is every self-sabotaging pattern, every inherited trauma, every limiting belief that keeps you chained in a cave of your own making. This brings us to the third rank, the warriors, and their secret world. Remember the title of this journey. The four ranks of angels and their sun-secret dark missions. The secret is that the war isn't happening above your head. It is happening behind your eyes. The warrior angel is not fighting for you as if you were a helpless bystander. That would disempower you. No, their mission is far more profound, far more respectful of your own divine nature. They empower you to fight for yourself. That flaming sword. It is not an instrument of punishment. It is a tool of discernment. It is the spiritual scalpel given to you to cut through your own illusions. It is the power to say, this thought is not me. This fear is not my truth. This inherited pain is not my destiny. Each time you choose love over fear, courage over comfort, truth over deception, you are wielding the archangel's sword. And the shield. It is not to block the arrows of external enemies. It is to guard your heart against the poison of cynicism and hopelessness. It is the divine resilience that allows you to get up one more time after you have been knocked down 100 times. It is the stubborn, unyielding belief in your own light, even when you are surrounded by darkness. This is a radical shift. It means the warrior angels are not a celestial police force. They are divine personal trainers for the soul. They don't remove the obstacles from your path. They hand you the strength to overcome them. They don't slay your dragons. They hand you the sword and shield, stand with you, and whisper, you can do this. You were born for this. Every act of courage is a prayer to the warrior angels. Every time you face a fear, you are training with them. Every time you choose forgiveness over bitterness, you are winning a battle alongside them. Their secret mission is to alchemize your greatest wounds into your greatest strengths, to turn the lead of your pain into the gold of your wisdom. They are the architects of your resilience, the patrons of your courage. The watchers made you ask the question. The messengers showed you the path. The warriors give you the strength to walk it, especially through the darkest valleys. And what happens when you have walked that path? When you have faced those inner dragons? Where does the journey lead? It leads to the final rank and the final, most peaceful secret. We now arrive at the pinnacle of the traditional angelic hierarchy, the seraphim. The name itself means the burning ones. The scriptures describe them as being the closest of all to the throne of God, beings made of pure love, of pure light. They fly above the throne, covering their faces, crying out in a song of eternal adoration. They are so pure, so holy, that even the other angels cannot look upon them directly. They seem to be the most distant, the most unapproachable of all. This is where the old paradigm of separation reaches its peak. If the seraphim are so close to God, and we are so far, then what hope do we have of ever experiencing that level of divine intimacy? They seem to represent a final, insurmountable barrier. A love so intense it would consume us. A holiness so absolute it would annihilate us. But again, we must look with new eyes. We must dare to ask what this imagery truly means for us, for the human soul. The secret of the seraphim is the most beautiful and comforting secret of all. They are not a barrier to God. They are the final revelation that there was never any separation in the first place. Their secret mission is the mission of divine remembrance. What does it mean that they are the burning ones, made of pure love? Think of the nature of fire. It is not just separate from the wood it consumes. It starts the process of the wood, releasing its own stored light, its own inner sun. The fire reveals the essence of what was there all along. The seraphim's burning love is not an external fire that threatens to destroy you. It is the very fire of life that burns within your own heart. It is the divine spark, the image of God in which you were made. It is the indestructible essence of your being. It is pure, unconditional love. We have come to think of love as an emotion, something we feel for others. But in this context, love is not an emotion. It is the fundamental substance of reality. It is the fabric of existence. It is what you don't caught. And their eternal song. Holy, holy, holy. This is not just adoration directed at a distant God. It is the resonant frequency of all creation when it is in harmony with its source. It is the vibration of every atom in the universe humming in tune, and that song is humming inside of you. When you experience moments of pure joy, of selfless love, of profound peace, of connection to nature, of creative flow, you are hearing the song of the seraphim in your own soul. You are aligning with your own essential holiness. So, the secret mission of the seraphim is not to bring you to God. It is to help you remember that you are, and have always been, an inseparable part of God. They don't guard a distant throne. They are the living embodiment of the truth that the kingdom of heaven is within you. Their light doesn't blind you. It illuminates your own divinity. Their fire doesn't consume you. It burns away the last vestiges of the illusion of separation. It burns away the final fear that you are unworthy or alone. It reveals the radiant, eternal, unburnable truth of who you are. Their presence isn't found by climbing a celestial ladder. It is found in the deepest, most profound silence. Not the heavy, empty silence we began with, but a new kind of silence. A silence that is full, a silence that is alive, a silence that is vibrating with love. It is the peace that passes all understanding. It is the feeling of coming home. So, let us bring our journey to a close. Let us stand back and look at the beautiful, compassionate map that has been revealed. It is not a hierarchy of power. It is a process of homecoming. It begins with the Watchers, the beloved troublemakers, who love us so much they refuse to let us stay asleep. They gift us with divine discontent, the sacred ache that starts our quest for meaning. Then come the messengers, the divine weavers, who transform chaos into conversation. They gift us with the mission of synchronicity, leaving a breadcrumb trail of meaning and guidance for us to follow, assuring us that we are on the right path. And on that path, we meet the warriors, the divine alchemists. They do not fight our battles for us. They gift us with the mission of inner alchemy, handing us the sword of discernment and the shield of resilience, empowering us to transform our own pain into our greatest power. And finally, at the end of the path, we do not find a gate we cannot enter. We find the seraphim, the burning ones, the great unifiers. They gift us with the mission of divine remembrance, burning away the final illusion of our separation and revealing the eternal, loving divine fire that has been our true nature all along. These 4 missions are not sequential steps you must complete. They are a 4-part harmony that is playing in your life right now. On any given day, you may feel the discontent of the Watchers, see the synchronicity of the messengers, draw on the strength of the warriors, and rest in the peace of the seraphim. They are 4 divine functions, 4 currents of grace, always available to you. Look back now at the place where we started. That quiet, heavy room, that feeling of being a solitary voice crying out into a void. Can you see now that the silence was not empty? It was pregnant with potential. It was the space in which the watchers could plant their seed. The static was not a lack of signal. It was a multitude of messengers waiting for you to tune into their frequency. The darkness was not an absence of light. It was the sacred cave where the warrior could teach you to find your own. And the loneliness was not a sign of your separation. It was the illusion that the seraphim were waiting to burn away with their love. You are not, and have never been, alone. You are watched over with a love so deep it chose to fall into empathy with you. You are guided with a precision so subtle it honors your free will at every step. You are empowered with a strength so profound it can turn your deepest wounds into sacred portals. And you are, at your core, made of the very same fire of love that illuminates the highest heavens. So breathe, in this moment, just breathe. Feel the truth of this map within your own body. The journey of the soul is not about becoming something you are not. It is about remembering everything you have always been. You are a holy and sacred project, and you have all the help in the universe. Not just out there, but in here, in the quiet, sacred eternal space of your own magnificent heart.